But today's session is just some research that I come across in the last couple of days. Um, Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining. I have come across some research in the last couple of days, and I was currently working on a project to go and heal my fertility and try and see to be a real life case study about healing my fertility because I've been infertile for 20 years now and no advice or guidance from my doctors. No one really knows why. I was 19 and everything just stopped. And then that turned into lupus, that turned into fibromyalgia, ended up having a stroke, kidney stones, I had my gallbladder removed, and slowly my health declined. And now I am actively trying to heal my body and trying to reverse a lot of the symptoms that I've got. And so last week I was planning my journey for my fertility, looking into supplements, looking into diets, what's the best protocol. Hi everybody, thank you for joining. Was looking for the best protocol, and then I realised my mercury fillings, I've got 4 of them that I've accumulated over the years, they've started wearing away. And as you can hear in my voice, I feel really run down at the moment, and I was like, I should probably know what's going on with these fillings and what happens when mercury goes in the body because I just was clueless. And it turns out a lot of the symptoms of mercury toxicity in the body mimic all of the symptoms that I've been diagnosed with my health conditions, the lupus, the infertility. And it plays a real similar role in the body, which I thought was absolutely fascinating. I wondered if anybody else had come across this of going to see a so-called health professional who are trained. And I need to make it really clear, I'm not against anybody that works in these institutions. I think they get into the system for really good reasons. I just don't think the system itself is set up to truly heal the body. And there's a lot of topics that I've done research on that I'll keep for my subscription stuff because I don't want to get censored on here and I need to speak freely. I'm really a sort of let it roll kind of person. And so I haven't had any answers from the NHS. I haven't had any answers from my doctors as to what actually caused my health conditions. And I'm 38 now, and it all started when I was 18. And my fertility went first. And I'd never ever been questioned about my diet, my lifestyle. It was, here's a tablet or a remedy for that symptom you've got, never looking at the actual disease. And so that's what's really inspired what I'm doing in the business, and trying to share information with people to say, have you considered all these other things? Because it was like reading my life, with the symptoms of mercury toxicity. So I've composed some bits and I'm going to go through it. Because it's my first live session today. I'm just getting used to everything, like trying to see everything at once. And so just be patient with me because I'm still trying to learn out how everything works. But whilst this was really fresh in my mind, I wanted to go through it because before I started the diet protocol that I was going to do, which is the carnivore diet, after Michaela Peterson had so much success, I thought that probably overload my liver. My liver, and your liver and your kidneys are what helps you to detox. So as you are losing weight and becoming healthier, your liver and your kidneys really support that process. And if I have mercury in my body and it's leaching because they're gradually wearing down, what pressure is this going to add to my liver and my kidneys? So it was by pure accident that I came across the whole mercury thing, purely because I was looking up symptoms. What do I watch out for? How do I know when my liver's going to be too overwhelmed or my kidneys are going to be too overwhelmed? And it turned out that I'm already in stage 2 of mercury toxicity, and this isn't official. It's really difficult to test for mercury, apparently. But this is just me reading the symptoms. So this is just self-educated. I'm not a professional. I'm not a doctor. I'm no expert. I'm just like you guys. I'm just trying to do the best I can with what I've got and share that knowledge with as many people as possible, and be as thorough as possible. My integrity is really important and transparency is really important. So I just want you to know that I am not a doctor. I'm not here to heal you. I'm not here to suggest that you follow in my footsteps, because you're all unique and you've all got different needs that you need to make sure are being met before you go down this route. I feel fairly confident in sort of where I'm at right now with my health journey and what I've learned. So this is a route that I'm going down. And I am going to vlog my carnivore journey. And it was truly inspired, like I say, by Michaela Peterson, Jordan Peterson, in what it did for their autoimmune disorders. And having a couple myself, I thought that's you got to give it a go. I don't want to get to an old age and think, what if I'd have tried that back then? And I do want to be a mum one day. And so if I can have hope, and a route to try and attempt to heal this myself after being shut down for years by the NHS. 14 different doctors, passed from pillar to post. I haven't had any fertility support really from the NHS because I just didn't know what to do with me. I went to the fertility clinic in Chelsea and Westminster, and they told me that I had to go to my stroke doctor because they couldn't put me on medication because it was all these different interactions. And so, as you can imagine, the NHS waiting lists are already really long. And so I'll be referred to my lupus doctor, who would send me to another doctor, and there'd be a 3 to 6 month wait if I was lucky and not longer. And so you're doing a 3 year cycle before you've got round back to the doctor that initially set you on that journey. And it kind of feels like a bit like a circus. And like I say, there's no judgment against anybody who works in that business. They get into that business, from my opinion, to do well. And I've met some fantastic doctors in that system. But when I prompted and poked and asked for, can I get to see a nutritionist? Is there anybody that can tell me about allergens and things like that? It was all shoved aside. Like, why did you want to know what's causing it? I can give you a drug for that. I can give you a pill for that. I can give you a prescription for that. It's probably the better way of saying that, keeping my language clear. Um, and so I've been particularly frustrated with the NHS in the last 5 years. They got all of my diagnoses wrong, and one by one, I've stopped trusting in each of them. My blood doctor lied to me, and told me that certain things were beneficial for me when actually in my own research later on down the line they weren't. And this was a real test of my power. I totally admit that I passed my power over to the NHS. My partner is a completely different person. He wouldn't have done that. And he's like, no, I think it's our own individual role to manage our bodies. And maybe he's right. But I think that we pass our power over to formal institutions to teach us and guide us how to be a sufficient adult. And that's not me passing the blame, but we're all in that same boat. My experience is that I have a degree in education. I wanted to be a teacher. I love passing on information. I'm going to be a lifelong student for life. But during that process, I realised a lot about the education system that I don't agree with. And so I decided not to do my teacher training and to pursue alternative ways of upskilling myself so that I can pass on valuable information that I think that really makes a difference in our lives on a day-to-day basis. From the perspective of not being the expert, that we're all in it together. And if we can share our experiences with one another and really learn to heal ourselves and be our greatest sort of healer from within, I think that's a really good achievement. So that's where I'm going. And so I had a goal. I left a job working for the government. I used to be a welfare to work manager, and I supported people with disabilities into work. I loved it because I could really resonate with the clients that came through the door. And I am one for the underdog always. I can't stand bullies. I can't stand anything that discriminates against anybody. We're all human. And from my current perspective, we're all part of the same consciousness, however you want to look at that. And I'm never here to force my beliefs on anybody. They're things that I've come across in my own journey at the right time. And so all of these things have really accumulated with the last 3 years, me attempting to set up some sort of business that encompasses every skill that I've got and embodies who I am as a person. And so I thought that would be around the fertility healing of some description. I'm a Reiki healer. I do water healings on people. I do astrology guidance to empower them, to coach them. And not everybody believes in that. And that's okay. That's fine. Everybody's entitled. We all view this reality from our own unique perspectives. And so we apply meaning to everything that we experience and what we see in front of us. So you can only see me from your current perspective, and I'm okay with that. But there's a lot of symptoms on this Mercury list that I think people need to know about, and we're not shared about that. I'm actually really considering putting a process in for a subject access request that goes right the way back to the beginning, because so far this is just a hunch for me. But if I can, I want to get my dental records to find out when the first filling went in, and then I can piece together a timeline to see if it was that truly influenced everything and the knock on. Because those of you that are on pharmaceuticals yourself will know that when you get one diagnosis, you get those prescriptions to sort those symptoms that bring about another load of symptoms. And I was on a carrier bag worth of prescriptions at one point in my journey, until I started standing up and saying, no, I need to function. I need to be out in the world because my depression was getting worse and I needed to work. I needed to feel like I was making a real difference in the world. And that job as a welfare to work manager gave me that. But I noticed a pattern that I was signed off every April without fail. As that spring came around, the cold started getting a bit warmer. I noticed my joints were just agonising, and it became a pattern year on, year out. And through a number of events that unfolded throughout 2016 and 2017, I decided to leave my welfare to work job. I was really pushed into a corner with my integrity and some questionable things that I didn't think were appropriate anymore. So then in 2017, I went to uni to study education. I wanted to learn how people learn so that I could be the best type of teacher that I could be. Not really knowing where it was going to take me, but I assumed at the time I'd be in the mainstream, system teaching children. And so we went through the whole process. And as I was about to pass my dissertation in, we got locked down on campus, and I ended up doing my final exams and assessments from home. And so during that, it's like my whole life at that point came to an end, as all of ours did. We all experienced endings and extremities throughout that whole process that 2020 brought on. And we don't even need to mention the word, because we've all got varying opinions about what happened with that, because the truth isn't very clear. It's all very murky. There's a lot of hidden things from us. And I think it's very hard to come to a solid conclusion and foundation about something when we've got a lot of information missing. But I will say this: don't doubt your gut. Don't doubt your gut. We've all spent too long doing that, and now I think is the time to rise. I think we all know what's happened recently within the UK, and I speak as a member of the UK. I'm a citizen of the UK. But when Angela Rayner came out recently and started speaking about, all the things to do with the votes and things like that, I tried to see how I could look at it from the highest perspective. And currently in the UK right now, we're not using our voices correctly. There's a lot of throat chakra energy and wounding around this country, but the spiritual things aside, we don't stand up for ourselves. We don't push back. There's a wonderful group of people that are. Some people are here to be on the front line. Some people are here to support those on the front line. Some people are here to hold the energy and just be a solution in the chaos. And we as the UK are facing that right now. As an astrologer, I looked at the UK's chart, and just for transparency, I used the date 1801 on the 1st of January at midnight, because that's the day that Ireland joined the mainland. And our moon is at 19 degrees of Cancer, and the current Mars is at 19 degrees of Cancer. And if we just take the basic level, the basic meaning of that, Mars is the planet of war, and the moon in a country's birth chart is the people. And so war on the people, potentially. Bear in mind that Mars has different higher meanings, higher states. It could be empowering the people. Yeah. It could be in pushing us to make action, just on a complete side note. And so knowing that now, I try to look at the world events on a very different scale, and that's not easy, because we know there's a lot of hurt. And those of us that are empathetic, we want to help everybody. But I've learned a lot over the last couple of years that the only way I can help anybody is by helping myself first. And I try to do that. I try to help as many people as I possibly can with my astrology, coaching, and my video content, even if it helps one person. And I've had some really beautiful emails from people saying how much the videos have helped them, and that makes this easier for me, because there's a big fear that I have of public speaking. And today the moon is approaching my Chiron and my Black Moon Lilith, and I wanted to smash through that fear and prove to myself that I could do this, because I've got some really important things that I want to share. And so back to the reason I came on to this live. The mercury fillings in my mouth are leaching. And I don't know if any of you have undiagnosed symptoms in your body, have been diagnosed but don't know why it's been caused. Tried many diets, not losing weight. And I know from working in a local health shop last year that we have people as young as 13, 14 that are infertile within this country. Sperm count in men is 50% less than it was 50 years ago. We've got a very big problem with our fertility across women and men worldwide. Mine happened 20 years ago, and I'm pretty sure that it was after I had the mercury fillings put in. I'm pretty sure. I can't be sure on that, and I want you to know that I am honesty and integrity is really important to me. So I want you to know exactly where I'm at. I will open a subject access request to find out everything unfold, and I will share that with you so that you can start looking into the same things. Even if it helps one of you today to really go, I've got those fillings. They're not mercury fillings, they're amalgam, but I can't say that word. So do forgive me. Amalgam, fillings. So it's 50% mercury, and then there's other things within it. Just to be purely transparent, it's not 100% mercury. But every time you breathe in, it turns out you're inhaling the vapors of that mercury. Every time you drink a hot drink, you're doing, it's a braising. Every time you brush your teeth, that slowly enters the body. And a really fascinating thing that I found out was they've known about this for centuries. The phrase "mad as a hatter," we have that purely because the hatters. I think in the 1800s, I'm not really great with my history, but the top hats were all lined with mercury, apparently. And so that's where the term "mad as a hatter" comes, because it affects your mind, slowly gets leached into the brain. And I'm actually really grateful that I came across it now, because I believe from my research it's stored in the fat and the organs. And so as I was going to be losing weight on the carnivore diet, more and more mercury would have been released in my body, overloading my kidneys. So you could say I got a little angel on my shoulder, or you could say that it was divinely timed. However you want to look at it, I feel very, very lucky. Very lucky, because I was about to launch the carnivore a few days ago, and it's by pure chance that one of my teeth was a bit funny, and I was like, "Oh, there's something playing up here. I need to really take this seriously. This could put too much pressure on my liver and my kidneys." And so I just want to go shortly over some of the symptoms that I found, just so you can see if you resonate. And so if you I refer to my notes, and go quiet. Where are we? So level one, there's three levels. It's broken down into three levels, mercury toxicity, apparently. Level one, mild brain fog and forgetfulness, occasional headaches, mood swings, anxiety and irritability, mild sleep disturbances or insomnia. Do you know anybody that is awake all out of the night, or they go to sleep and they can't stay asleep? When I was looking, because I'm one of those people, I go to sleep and I find myself awake between the hours of maybe 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. And loads of people walk around going, "Oh, it's witching hour," and you're receiving downloads and things like that. And yeah, maybe you could get on board with that. But for some people, the liver is doing its detox between those hours, between 1 and 3, I think it is. And so if your liver is overcompensating, it'll wake you up. And so it turns out the reason that I may have been awake at those hours of the morning is because my liver was detoxing too much, potentially because of these, and potentially because of other substances that we've got in our bodies through foods, through the air, whatever perspective you've taken on life right now. I fully support you. You're right to that. But this is this. We have to be able to look at it from multiple perspectives and hold those multiple perspectives in order to maintain and ground ourselves in some sort of truth. That's not me dismissing anything else. I just don't know enough about it, and I'm not an expert in it. And so I don't think anybody of us are really experts in anything. We're always learning more. And I don't know anyone who gets to 16 and feels ready to take on the world, which is why I really want to encourage lifelong learning. I really want to encourage the joy of learning for the sake of learning. And I think my other half said some really great advice a couple of years ago, that no one changes unless they felt enough pain. That really poked a trauma within me, because I've been fighting for many, many years to try and get my health back on track, not knowing that I was the person causing the issue in the first place. And we've got to normalize that. You can't know what you don't know, and there's no blame at all. Give yourself permission to, to feel that, because there's no blame. But we have to own our decisions. We've made decisions that contributed to the effects in our body. We cause and effect. We do action A that causes an effect in the body. And I had to own that. I was out of balance and I was really poorly. And at one point I was spiraling so bad, within the space of 2 hours, I ended up in hospital with sepsis out of nowhere. Felt fine. And then boom, I was in A&E, and they hooked me up to a drip really, really quickly. And so I put so much pressure on my body, but I wasn't looking at the root cause. I was running around for years in like a circus act of NHS referrals, trying to get a grip on whatever was happening to my body, and no one really teaching me or showing me how. And so when we're looking at the symptoms that we're experiencing, please don't, there's a balance between blaming yourself and taking accountability. No one's being blamed, but accountability is where I'm at right now, and I'm owning the things that maybe I've not taken account of prior to today. I'm just going to take some water. The next set of symptoms in that category of level one are cold hands and feet, poor circulation, fatigue after meals because your liver's struggling to detox, light and sound sensitivity. Now, I want to pause at that one because I was never light and sound sensitive. I used to be a performing arts student before I got lupus, and I also managed nightclubs. And so I was around sound and music and lighting all the time, never sensitive. Last couple of years, my eyes are really difficult to drive at night. And certain sounds and music, or like kids screaming or dogs excessive barking, and I've got a dog and I love kids. Oh, my ears really overwhelmed. And I just thought it was something. Even my doctor, so this is how recent this is. About 6 weeks ago, my doctor was like, "I'll refer you for adult ADHD and autism testing. Women go undiagnosed all the time because they emotionally cope with it. So we'll get you put through an assessment for that." Maybe, maybe not. I'm not dismissing. I'm not saying it's a no. I don't know enough about all of these things. But again, sit on the merry-go-round to see what's going on and what symptoms are causing it. And the more I look into autism and ADHD and things, there's a lot to do with heavy metals from what I'm researching. And I, again, not an expert. So light and sound sensitivity is a big one, causing, and my migraines were getting out of hand. Mild digestive issues. I was diagnosed with IBS. So I just give a random name for all these symptoms and go, oh, that's that. That's that. So then we move on to level 2. Severe brain fog, difficulty remembering words. Sometimes I get to the stage where I can see the image in my head, but I just can't grasp it. I can't grasp. And that's, again, not always been there. I've done some, presentations. I've done meetings where I've been presenting to different people within the government. I can, if I know my stuff, I'm happy to talk. But it got to points where I was in front of customers and I'm losing my words. I could see it. It's not like I can't remember. My brain's not working. The connection between that and that just weren't happening. And it's not consistent. It's not all the time. So it's just a really, really weird thing. Depression. I've been diagnosed with that and was on antidepressants. I'm not anymore. Along with anxiety. Panic attacks and emotional numbness. And again, I can resonate with all 3. Tingling, numbness or nerve pain. I get a lot of them in my fingers and my toes. Ringing in ears. There is a lot, again, there's a lot of spiritual stuff that in here where people say, they can hear frequencies and things like that. It may be, but it also could be the connectivity of the Mercury in the body. There's other things we need to consider. And I'm like this in everything that I do. I love astrology. I love astrology. I mean, come on, the timing for everything. The day that Angela Rayner comes out and talks about all of these votes being taken away is the day that Mars is on the UK's moon. That's timing, and that's war against the people. You can see it. You can see it. And that's why I like to explore the astrology, to just neutralise the energy and look at it, not from a zodiac point of view. It's useful to know your own, but it's really useful to know the upcoming energies. But I'm also aware of the moon situation, and there's 4 ancient tribes that account the time that the moon arrived in our sky. And so if you're looking at astrology, you can't ignore that information and those claims. It might not be. Again, might not be. But when those claims are made, and there's 4 different ancient civilizations all stating in their stories that they remember the day the moon came, you need to include that within your astrological analysis of things, because what does that do for other objects within space? The astrology. You know what I'm saying? And so, and also someone threw something at it and it rattled for hours. I don't know any other planets that do that. And so, yes, I love astrology, but we can't ignore things that are coming up either. And we can't do the same with that. And so anybody that spiritually bypasses this, and I'm a spiritual person, you can see I'm caked in crystals. I love them. I love them. But I'm not going to ignore facts, and I'm not going to ignore things that come up and go, well, that doesn't fit in that box. And we can't look at that. The truth stands up on its own legs. We don't need to defend it, and we don't need to get angry at the person that's sharing the information either. I was once in a coffee shop with a guy that was talking to me, and I'm not going to really go into it. I'm going to save it for my after dark stuff, but we were talking about the current Prime Minister and his connections to a certain Mr. Fix-It Man. And he was like, you're wrong. You're wrong. I'm a, what they're called, journalist, 25-year-old journalist. And the BBC is the most trustworthy news source that you can come across. Now, each to their own. Everybody's on their own unique journey. That's fine. But then he went on to say, let me guess, you're anti-vax as well. And I was like, wow, whoa, this isn't about me. This has nothing to do with me and my decisions about my body. Nothing whatsoever. This is everything to do with the topic at hand, so let's stick to that. If you want to have a real conversation about it, I'll happily discuss it with you and present my evidence as to why certain things and I believe them. Someone shows you who they are, believe it, right? Yeah. And so we are all at different stages of awareness and raising our awareness. I don't like using the term awakening. Awareness. We're raising our awareness about who we are as humans. What can we do? What have we been lied to about? And what are we here to do? What are we here to do as humans? It's not eat, sleep, wake, repeat, and all that blooming thing. You know what I mean? Nourish our souls. I'm here to nourish my soul, and my soul has got a message. And I know that I went through a lot of the things that I went through so that I reached this point. So that I've got real experience, because I don't come from you from a place of going, oh, I saw an article in the news and it said this, so I'm going to repeat that now and create an echo chamber of things. Everything that I'm sharing with you is purely from my own experience, and that's all I've got to share with you, because certain events, I wasn't there, I can't see it. I wasn't there. So when they tell me that this happened in this space, I wasn't there, and it'd be really unfair of me to share that. But experiences are what we're all here to do, and I think every single one of you have got an experience to share with the world in whatever way that looks like. Whatever way that looks like. Everybody's got something to share. It's together and in a community that we get through. I was sharing all these things with about Mercury with my mum this morning, and she didn't know. And the more people I spoke to about it, the more they didn't know. And I thought, wow, there's a lot of people that don't know about this. And if I can help one person have a better experience of life because they watched this live today or they come across this video at the point they were supposed to, that makes me a very happy person because I love making a difference in people's lives. I love helping people. I love empowering people to be the best versions of themselves. We shouldn't be like anybody else. We're only in competition with ourselves. You're not here to be like the next person that you're watching or to be inspired by some influencer online. I'm just here to keep it real and share my story and the knowledge that I accumulate from that story. So yeah, the point that I was trying to make there is spiritually bypassing is not up my street. I can accept when things are spiritual and I can accept when things spiritual are happening. I'm a Reiki healer and I have spiritual things happen to me all the time. And me and my other half right now are convinced that we're developing some sort of telepathy. That's only through a number of experiences over time so the other day, for example, I'll just give you a quick example. The other day, my other half gets up and goes into the kitchen to start looking at ingredients. And I'm not aware of this. He's just got up and gone into the kitchen and we just finished whatever conversation we were having. And all of a sudden, I've got a thing come in my head going, I wonder if the lion's mane mushrooms that I dehydrated will be any good. They've been in that jar for a little bit now. As I thought that, he come out and went, I'm going to use these mushrooms in my meals. Do you mind while I'm meal prepping? We hadn't been talking about mushrooms. And so I'm either sensing the thought in the area or the energy in the environment. I don't know how it works. I don't claim to be some mystical know-all. I'm here to share the experience because I have a lot of people coming in the shop that I consult at saying, oh, I don't know if I should share this. Seems a bit woo-woo. And I'm like, well, I'm all right with woo-woo. I'm all right with woo-woo. Your experience matters. Your experience counts. There's too many of us going through these experiences that I hear on a daily basis now. I don't know what it means. I don't know, have no idea. But these types of things have been happening on and off now, probably for the last 3 years for us. Now that we've become really aware of our mind space and really trying to navigate that minefield, we're really aware when we're in sync. It's not just an energy thing. It was I hadn't been thinking about mushrooms all day. I was thinking about going carnivore. All I was going to be eating is steak and eggs. No idea. And I had no reason to think about mushrooms. And so I don't know if you guys have had any of those sort of situations, but we need to start creating a tribe and a community with people that uplift us and support us through these changes, because I think there's a lot changing in the human body. And I think there's a lot that we are learning about ourselves that's either intentionally been kept hidden from us or is unfolding at the time that it should, because we are going through some times right now. We are going through stuff as a collective, as a country, as a world, as a person, all the different ways that you can. Very intense energies unfolding this year, and you can see it in the astrology unfolding. You can feel it. Everybody around you. Show some compassion to people on the road, and it's not easy. People trigger you all day long, and I am triggered. I'm an Aries moon. I'm triggered quick. That is a hard thing to master. That is a hard thing to swallow. That is a hard thing to take your time. Show some compassion. Everybody is fighting their own battle in some way, shape, or form. But the more I think about it, the more that these people that we personify as bad are just coming along to say, hey, look at how much power you're willing to give to me. Because we're slowly taking back our power. One person, one step at a time. I tell people this all the time, but it was Boris Johnson that woke me up. Boris Johnson. Up until that point, having been an ex-government worker, I was stripped to the news. I was stuck to the news. I was following the update every day. I really wanted to make a difference. Genuinely believed that they had their best interest at heart. I was wrong. Very wrong. And I'm not afraid to admit that. We have to stand up and say when we're wrong. There's nothing ashamed in that. We all go through our processes at the right time. And I needed that as a trigger for me, because only you know what you don't know. So when these inspirations unfold within you, when you suddenly start knowing and sensing things, trust that in your body. I didn't. And what developed throughout that whole process, I think because I was so afraid, and the fear, I know, shuts down the ability of our bodies to critically analyse the body. Shuts it down. Can't critically analyse it at all. I had like a bubble around my head. That once Boris Johnson said he said something about the figures of the death rate. And I went, what did you say? That doesn't make sense. And I started piecing together things wrong in a different way. And so that was just a physical example of how the energy shifted for me to start raising up and bringing the power back to me. Government means mind control in etymology. Now, I'm not saying that they're controlling the mind. We haven't got any evidence on MK Ultra like they do in America. All I'm saying is be mindful of the power of your mind. and constantly teach yourself about the power of your mind. Because I think it was more of a influence thing to influence decisions that were made. But that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. And so I think the same's happening with Angela Rayner. I think we're going for another cycle. We could see it in the astrology. We've got another pass of the Jupiter Saturn energy coming in, which was prominent in 2020. She's just coming to say, hey, look how much power I've got and what you haven't. And with Pluto and Aquarius, the power is shifting back to the people. The movement, the direction we are heading in is decentralized. We are one step at a time, no matter what the looks like out there, one step at a time. But it starts by taking back your sovereignty, and it starts by taking back your health, because you can only give the best version of yourself to the collective, to your family, to you, when you give yourself the best of yourself to you first. That was a mouthful, but I hope you get what I'm trying to say. You can only give the best of yourself to others when you give the best of you to you first. And we're all taught from a young age to care about everything else but us. Give your money away to this charity, and I'm not against charity. It's just examples of even people that are not well off giving away their power to people because they're so compassionate. And without the influence of media, without the influence of informal institutions, what would the human race truly look like? Because most people I meet are wonderful. They're just really afraid and unsure and don't feel safe right now. They're just like you. We're all just going through it in our own unique ways. We've all got a unique path to play. And so let's get back to these level 2 symptoms. High FSH, that is your infertility. FSH is the chemical in your brain that's being released to your ovaries that says, hey, it's time to release an egg now. And it gets higher and higher and higher when the ovaries don't respond. Mercury toxicity is an endocrine disruptor, and that will disrupt the endocrine system, mismatching all your hormones. Again, please, I'm not an expert. I'm just trying to give it to you in a really short, concise way that I currently understand it. Ovarian dysfunction and irregular cycles. And so that's alarming, because the sources of mercury, and no, they're no longer used, but a few fillings, and there are millions of people that have this. And they've known about the toxicity levels for a long time. I think there's a World Health Organization, and I really don't like using them, but they announced that mercury was considered to be an official neurotoxin, and I'm pretty sure that was back in 2007. And it's 2025, and I'm pretty sure that those amalgam fillings were planned last year, maybe early this year at some point around recently. I've heard a lot about them being cancelled. Why so long? Why so long? Because there's been a lot of people that have suffered with their ill health over the years, and with the amount of symptoms, and I will upload this as a document so you can read through it. So if it does resonate with you, I've set up a Telegram channel so that I can upload all of my research, that you can see exactly where I'm getting the information from and where I'm getting it from. Because that's really important. There's so many people walking around saying, take this, do that, have this supplement does that. Do you want to bring abundance in? That's not the way to look at your health. Abundance is a state of mind. That's feeling safe and secure, but you're not going to feel safe and secure while you're feeling unwell. And so firstly, we need to get on top of our bodies, because when we're not well and we're unwell and we're unfit and we're not able to stand up for ourselves, our minds can't get on board and our minds won't push forward. So we accept negative actions from people that should not be doing negative things to us. We lose a sense of self-respect almost. We allow these things to happen to us. And I think now's the time. Start finding your tribe. Start finding like-minded people that you can pick this apart with, because it's complicated. It's not easy. You can watch all these YouTube channels and these Rumble channels and go on BitChute and see all these people talking about it. It's not easy. The word conspiracy was made up by the CIA as a way of drawing attention away from JFK. So loads of people walk around going, oh, you're such a conspiracy theorist. I'm like, that's it. Use the propaganda terminology. Critical thinking is not conspiracy. Critical thinking is asking yourself, how else can I look at this situation and whose benefits from me knowing this? When you go knee deep down the rabbit holes of the medical background, which is what I've been inclined to do over the last couple of years, you find that the pharmaceutical industry actually wrote most of the textbooks. Claimed. Please dig deeper. I'd love to know the truth. Got no objections to anybody coming on and saying anything. We should be able to hold a balanced and emotionally intelligent conversation without insulting each other. You come on here and tell me something that I don't know. I love it. I love it. And I will change my opinion as well based on that. And go, oh, I didn't know that. Actually, if that's true, then that changes the way I look at X, Y, Z. And that should be a really healthy way of us continuously moving our energy forward, if you want to look at it as an energetic way. Continuously moving forward in the growth as a human. We're tired because we're not well and we're being fed rubbish. Why can you walk into Tesco's and Asda and Sainsbury's and go straight to the organic section? What does that say about the rest of the shop? Or the healthy section? What does that say about the rest of the shop about what we're eating? You know, it says a lot. And so we need to start understanding the way our bodies are designed and knowing what different organs do on all the levels, spiritually, energetically, emotionally, emotion, energy, emotion. Thoughts make that energy move, and then we experience it as an emotion in our bodies. And the more we can control our minds and take ownership and sovereignty over our mind space about what we think and how we process those thoughts, and give ourselves permission to be wrong and make mistakes and trip up and all those humanness, put human first, the better we will be as a collective, the more helpful we'll be for each other, and the more we'll be able to move forward and change the things that we want changed and birth the things that we want to see in our immediate communities. Because we've let it go on for so long now, and now is the time to stand. And if you don't feel called to go and protest on the front line, that's not your role. Honour what your role is. We can't all go and stand on that front line, as magnificent as that would be. Some people need to ground the energy down, and some people need to go and they've got that. They've got that fighting spirit in them. They've got that confidence to go and there and stand there and say, no, no more. I do not consent. And then you feel confident because the person next to you said, I do not consent. And it becomes a beautiful wave that we just pass forward. Doesn't make a difference to me what colour skin is, what religion people are from. Everybody has the right to the faith that they have been. Everybody has a right to their environment. Everybody has a right. Every single human being is a unique on the spectrum of everything that possibly can be. We are a fraction of the same consciousness, in my personal opinion. And we shouldn't be judging someone based on where they happen to be born, whether close to the sun or not, based on the pigmentation of their skin and what their environment has told them they should believe in, because we have all got issues, same as addictions. Anybody judging somebody who has got a drug addiction or an alcohol addiction, have a look at yourself. Are you ordering online shopping to get dopamine hits? Scrolling on Facebook to get dopamine hits? Sugar. I have now, I'll own it. I've got a very bad addiction to sugar, and it started at a very young age. Those dopamine hits are very expensive, are very addictive. And my other half said actually that sugar is more addictive than some certain powdery substances that you can take to then get addicted to. And so we need to be mindful about the risks of these things that we put in our body. And you can't know what you don't know, but now we know better. It's time to start doing better, one thing at a time. It's not a time to change every single thing. Don't rush in and change everything. Don't throw away your pots and pans because someone on the TV told you they're toxic. One thing that you can manage at a pace that you feel comfortable with. But start with your water. You can go. I mean, here's a bit of fact for you. The Guinness World Book of Records for the longest fast was 367 days. And don't get me wrong, the man was very large and his body became accustomed to burning the fat for fuel. 367 days on water fasting. That's phenomenal. But you can't survive very long without water. And so really start to think, what am I bathing in? Your skin is your biggest organ. What are you bathing in? That's being soaked into you, the chlorine and the fluoride and all those things. And I'm not here to tell you what they do. Go and have a little look at it. I will do some videos, but it'll be on my Patreon because I want to maintain this platform and my connection to you guys. And I've seen so many people get censored. So I am going to be doing an after dark in my Illuminate Patreon where you can come become a member and join me, like contribute to all this research, because I am not the expert. You are not the expert, but together, you sharing what you know, me sharing what I know, our community coming together and just sharing with no fear of being wrong. No fear of being wrong. Because we can't know these things. We have to trip over. That's where we build our resilience, our emotional resilience, our collective experience, resilience. Our community spirit has gone in this country. And it's only going to be by the likes of us, those of you that are sticking around to hear what I've got to say today. It's only by us joining and seeing others do like-minded things that inspire us along the way. I've been inspired by some people on here. You're being inspired by people on here. Let that build your momentum within inside and really show you how to move forward with confidence. You're not here to be like them. You're here to be you. And I can only share with you my experiences. And so the next symptom on this, I'm sorry, it's all over the place. Like I say, it'll be on my Telegram and Patreon, the report, so you can go through all of this. So it's all transparent. Chronic fatigue, joint pain and muscle weakness. Now that for me turned out to apparently be fibromyalgia. Or is it mercury poisoning level 2? Fibromyalgia? I don't know. Not the expert. But very interesting. Because I've got all of level 1 and 2 symptoms. Autoimmune flare-ups, lupus, fibromyalgia-like pain and inflammation. Skin issues, eczema, rashes, and unexplained hives because your body's trying to detox. So when you get spots on your skin, it's because all the stuff on the inside out is trying to be pulled out. Your skin, don't cake anything on. Be careful what you put on your body. And I say that with love. But the more we do that, the more our detox organs are overcompensating, yeah? Slow metabolism and difficulty losing weight. Now, at some point, I'll find a before picture of me, but I used to be a size 22, 24. I'm now roughly about 16 around the middle, 14, 12 on top, 12 stone. And that's the lowest weight I've been in my whole adult life. But it's been a slog to get that off. And it actually happened a lot quicker when I stopped focusing on losing weight and just wanted to become healthier. Because the emotional hold on to fat is a safety thing. It puts a layer in front of your organs because I don't have really fatty underarms and there's not a lot of fat here, but my stomach, there's a lot. And that's hormonal weight too, because my hormones are all over the show. All over the show. And they have been since 2000, well, before 2009, maybe 2008, 9, roughly around then, when everything started declining for me. Ironically, when Pluto moved into my first house, Capricorn, which is another fascinating astrological link. The astrology is really what got me through the last 5 years, understanding the energy so I could step into my power and bring my shadows to light, so I could look at them and heal them and send them away. And that's how you become the best version of you. And that's what I do in my reports day in and day out for people. I love it. I love getting the emails back saying it's made a big difference. And I don't need you to believe in the woo-woo of Zodiac and I see everything like Mystic Meg used to do on the lottery. Do you remember that in the 90s? I see the winner being a Virgo. No, I don't use astrology for prediction. It's an alchemical thing. You were born in that state of energetic. And now that energetic's experiencing the current energetic. So when you alchemize those two and work with those energies together, you really get a stronger sense of self and a strong sense of what's unfolding for you. And that's come from, again, my experience. And we can only dismiss things based on our experience. I spent a good amount of years going around trying to heal from all these wacky people that we probably term as woo-woo. I've had past life regressions, I've had QHHT, I've had Reiki sessions and water mastery healing and all these different types of modalities to try and tap into something. I've had reflexology, I've had Rahani Reiki from Carol Stacey. Yeah, yeah, all because I want to make a difference. And those things are beautiful and they really do set you on your path and they really do highlight things that need to be worked on. But ultimately, the only change that's ever going to happen is when you start taking the action and the change. And that's why my carnivore journey is coming in. And the reason I'm not going to be sharing the carnivore journey on my Luminate page is because I appreciate that each one of you are at different stages of awareness and different stages of understanding. And some of you might be following a vegan diet, and I don't think that's very respectful. So I'm going to keep it separately just so I can maintain this channel for my teachings. That's the whole Luminate thing, to illuminate things we didn't know. And then the radiate will be how to help yourself to radiate within. And I want you to only come over to that channel if it resonates with you in your journey. If you're looking for an alternative fertility, if you've suffered with premature ovarian failure, PCOS, and you're looking to try and find a remedy, I am not making promises that this will work. I'm just saying that if I don't try it, I will always regret it. And this is just me looking at different people. You know, that was a toxicologist on Diary of a CEO the other day, and I believe her journey was she was infertile and she started cutting out all the toxins, and she, in the space of 9 months, went from being no cycle to cycles returning and then being pregnant. And that's phenomenal. The reason I got onto the carnivore, just to sort of fill you in, because I've tried the vegan diet, I've tried vegetarian, I've tried everything to cut out gluten, I've tried everything to try and, FOD mapping and this, that and the other. And I was sharing my knowledge in the health food shop that I was working in. And this lady was like, "Oh, my daughter would love you. I'm going to send her in to speak to you." She said basically her story is when she was 43, she entered menopause and she's now 53 and she discovered the carnivore diet. And so she started the carnivore diet and within 6 months, her periods had come back. Her periods had come back. 6 months on carnivore. Mine's been 20 years. So that's half the time. And the research that I've looked at suggests that it's more like your ovaries are asleep. And so the process of waking them up, that's where I'm going to vlog all of that on the radiate journey, to keep it like a physical healing journey. Because there's lots of paradigms that, the lenses, sorry, that you can look at the carnivore diet through and the lion diet. And just out of transparency, I'm going to be doing a whole separate channel just for that. And then you can follow along on there. And keep her, up to date with my journey. So thyroid as well has a massive part to play in Mercury detoxing, I've learned, because the thyroid is to do with all of your reproductive organs. I don't feel the teachers enough about any of this at school. Do you? Um, this is where we've really got to start bringing value to the world and bringing value to home educators, because we shouldn't be trying to replicate what the schools is failing in. We need to be teaching these children like the individuals that they are, because the future of this world is in their hands, and we owe it to them to enable them to grow up to be the best version of themselves and not live in a world that tells them that they're wacky and woo-woo and losing their marbles because they try to tell you that they are sensing things that you cannot see, that they know things. You've seen so many of these children now that talk about, I've seen somebody in my room, or I've heard this, or they've got all of these extra sort of sensory perception. And it's incredible to watch the stories of children that remember their past lives, gone down rabbit holes with that. Have a look at it if you've not already, because it's fascinating to learn what the human body can do. And I mean, I'm 38 now, 39 this year, and it's taken me till I was 33 to really understand it. I've been a crystal collector for a long time and trying to work with them for healing. But really, that inner world is your outer world is a direct reflection of your inner world. And so the whole radiate from within is going to be the main thing. And if that inspires you, that makes my day. That really does. And so the level 3 symptoms for severe toxicity over time, because this slowly leaches a bit day by day by day, is memory loss, confusion, brain fog, so bad that it affects daily life. Tremors, muscle spasms and coordination issues, extreme chronic fatigue, completely wiped out even after rest. And that's what I've been suffering for years, like constantly feeling the need to rest, like I'm just not recuperating. Heart palpitations, irregular heartbeat, blood pressure swings, autoimmune activation such as lupus, RA, MS or thyroid disease, severe gut dysfunction, constant nausea, bloating, IBS-like symptoms, often potentially mistaken for, I'm not a doctor, I can't possibly tell you this, MS, Parkinson's, dementia, lupus and chronic Lyme disease. I mean, 1800s when they knew about this, about the toxic levels of it. Apparently there was something, I think, I remember rightly, it was to do with the Chinese or the Japanese, about they were taking an elixir of mercury to promote long life and they ended up dying really young. I don't even know how that even operates within the functionality of a civilization. Where did you get the impression that that was going to give you long life by watching all the other people that have taken it? But it was one of the things I came across in my research. And so if you connect to any of those symptoms that I've just read, ask the question, do you have mercury fillings? Silver fillings, amalgam, that's it, amalgam, amalgam fillings, consistently release mercury vapor that you're inhaling. That then enters your bloodstream and stored in the brain, the fat and the organs. Certain seafood also has it in. So high methyl mercury fish are tuna, swordfish and king mackerel. So if you are a consumer of those, that's something to be aware of. I'm not saying it's definitely, you're the fish you've eaten, it's definitely got it in, but something to be aware of. Hello, sorry, I'm not ignoring the chat. I'm just trying to keep, this is all new to me. Like I say, it's my first live today, so I really appreciate you all joining and I really appreciate you all liking, waving and whatnot. Just give me a bit of time to get used to it. I'm kind of tech savvy, but not that much. So like I say, I'm not saying that that's the fish that you've eaten had it in, but if you consume tuna, swordfish and king mackerel or other fish that have got that in, it's well worth paying attention to potential mercury toxicity within your body. Vaccinations. Now that's a bit of a subject that I won't go into in much detail on here because we all know that that's been a whole big thing for the last 5 years. But some flu ones still contain, this word is thimerosal. Thimerosal. Yeah, I'll put it in the comments. I didn't know I could do that. 2 seconds. Some flu shots contain, just so you can have a little look at it. So you can ask your doctor, does that, if you are still someone that's taking it, and I am not telling you what to do, look at the ingredients and then ask yourself how they affect the body. And that's transparency. I haven't got to go and tell you what to do with your body. That's your choice. Research it. I hadn't even thought about it, but the other day I went into a whole big thingy about plasters and how I hadn't even thought about the chemical that's in plaster glue. So it's a slow process. But start asking, what's in this skin thing? What am I washing my body in? What am I showering in? What am I brushing my teeth? Every single thing that you put on your skin is being leached in by the skin. It's the most intelligent thing we've got. It opens up and lets things out, and then it also absorbs things in. It's like a miracle. So yeah, I'll pop that in the chat so you can have. Oh no, I've not pressed send. There we go. I'll pop that in the chat so you can see that that word. But if you're getting them, ask, does this have this in? And then you can make an informed choice of what you want to put in your body. Cosmetics and skin products. Now I don't put skin products on, and I've never worn makeup just because I'm lazy. I'd rather stay in bed than put something on my face, and I'm grateful for that now because we know about all the chemicals that are in a lot of the makeup, the big brand makeup at least. And there are a lot of organics and things like that. But like I say, check out each ingredient. If you can't pronounce the word, I don't eat it. But when it comes to cosmetics, they have to put big, long, fancy names that relate to the, chemical makeup and all that on there. So just, just be mindful, be diligent, be in your integrity about what's going on in your body. Don't cook on anything, don't eat anything that's got these things in, if that resonates with you and that you've done your research, because no one can tell you what to do with your body. That's what I'm here for. You need to make those decisions about you. I'm here to say I'm right there with you and I'm exploring the same things as you, and let's get through this together. Share your knowledge, I'll share my knowledge. Where are you at on your journey? That's humanity. That is comradeship. That is, I don't know if that's a word, I think I just made it up. But that is, finding the tribe. And I'm here to help you in any way that I possibly can. If I'm the expert, and if I'm not, I'll pass you to someone I think can be for you. And then environmental pollution and air exposure. So mercury in air and water. And I've not gone into too much detail about that. There's a lot of things in regards to certain lines being drawn in the sky. What's in that? Who knows? Have a little look and see. There's a lot of people are doing tests about it in the rainwater and things around there. And there's some suspect things going on. I've got 50,000 photos because when I first became aware, I was convinced all the energy was different, visual sparkles everywhere. Like I thought the plants, like I could sense them on a level I hadn't before. And that was the real first sort of shock for me. I was like, something's happening here. I was working for my friend's garden and it was just the weirdest experience. And then I started looking up because I could see different things within the sky. And that's where I've got 50,000 photos of the sky on my phone. And not one of them's got a line on it. And you all remember going outside during the lockdowns and looking at the sky and how clear it was, and how people on the news were saying you can see London from Essex. That's where I'm based, Essex. I'm currently in Dunmow. And so, yeah, question stuff. You might be wrong, you might be right, but we should not be dismissing each other because someone's got a little bit of extra knowledge that you don't have. So yeah, environmental pollution and air exposure. Look at, I'll share some more bits in the future, but what else has got mercury in it that we're inhaling, and where has it come from for all these years? How does mercury get broken up? When we urinate it out of our bodies and it goes into our water systems and then it goes into our oceans and our rivers and then we then reconsuming it, that's how it's entering the fish. So it's something really to be mindful of that I hadn't even connected the dots with, because I trusted my dentist, I trusted my doctors, and I am at a stage now where I'm only trusting myself. I have to do the research before you allow someone, and don't just make assumptions that something is safe for you. That's how I got myself into this situation over a number of years. So I wanted to put it out there because it was a shock for me and it was a lifesaver for me because I was about to go carnivore, and I'm going to do that Monday. I've now established a really good detox protocol that, to be honest with you, in a matter of like days, this whole thing that you can hear in me in my chest and that, whatever they're calling flu, and FLU, fluctuation in your energy, however you want to look at the flu, that's fine by me. But I've been trying to rid this for the last week. Vitamin C, vitamin D, all that good stuff. And then I took charcoal one night and I woke up and my mucus was like half. I had pressure in my head. I couldn't hear out of this ear. It felt like I was underwater. I had the worst migraine and headache, and I thought charcoal. I don't know why, but charcoal, just intuitively before I went to bed. And the next morning, everything was so much less pressure, so much less, a lot less symptoms, And so let me go through some of the products that I'm using. And I need to say this, don't start a detox until you've done it. You've looked into all of this. This has to be a disclaimer right now, because detoxing mercury safely is really dangerous. Because if you mobilize the mercury in your body, you can aggravate the symptoms even more. You need to add binders in, I've learned. Binders. What they do is they store the mercury in the stomach so they can't be reabsorbed back into your bloodstream and redistributed, and then potentially storing in your brain, causing all of those really damaging things. And so the binders that I'm taking is zeolite and activated charcoal, because that helps trap the toxins. In order to support my liver to detox, because I've got a fatty liver, I'm taking milk thistle and ox bile because I was taking ox bile anyway, because of my lack of gallbladder. And so if I'm going to be doing the carnivore diet, I need to replace the functionality of my gallbladder and breaking down fats and things in my body. And so I started taking ox bile as a way of allowing me really to eat fatty meats over Christmas. But now I'm continuing it because it's made in half an hour, you can really feel the difference of taking that. So if you've got no gallbladder and you are not on to ox bile right now, I cannot recommend it enough from my experience. But please obviously check out its suitability for you and your situation. But ox bile, your gallbladder, and your liver have a very important part to play. And I had really bad gallbladder issues, obviously because it was trying to overly detox the mercury from my body. I feel I've not had any tests done to confirm it's mercury. I just mentioned a lot of the symptoms that are on here that I've been told were lupus, fibromyalgia, antiphospholipid syndrome, chronic fatigue, hypermobility. I had a stroke in 2012, the TIA ones with the small tranexamic attacks, but I can't say that word. Um, Hypermobility, amongst other things. And I really knew that I was becoming empowered when I started taking pearl powder last year, and my cataracts cannot be seen um, by my optician anymore. And that was like, wow, I'm taking something that works. After taking all the pharmaceuticals for a number of years that just don't, that are just remedying symptoms and causing others. Um, and then I'm taking NAC, and NAC mobilizes the mercury, from what I can understand. And so the times that you take these products and the times that you take the binders and the times that you support your liver need to be worked out throughout the day. Because when you take charcoal, shouldn't be taken close to other supplements and medications. So just be really mindful when you start doing this. Know your stuff and feel confident in your research before you start detoxing any of these, because that's really, really important. I don't want anybody to make their symptoms more severe because they've gone, I need to get the mercury out and had a panic. You're absolutely fine. You're absolutely fine. Just take a deep breath. Look at what you've got control and power over. Look at what you can do within your body and make those small changes. So for me, I'll break down what I'm doing right now. I am throwing away all of the Teflon cookware that I'm afraid to say I bought because they were cheap. And you get what you pay for. You get what you pay for. And so now I'm throwing those away and I'm converting to cast iron and stainless steel because they're not going to leach anything into your food. I don't cook with any seed oils at all. I cook with tallow, maybe a little bit of organic olive oil, because what happens when you eat seed oils, just to put this on your radar, there's a process of extraction for seed oils called hexane extraction. That's Hexane. I'll write that word in the comments so you can look up if your seed oil products have got this in. So have a look for hexane on the bottle. Now, a seed oil will either be cold pressed to push that oil out of it, or it will be hexane extracted. Hexane is really bad for the body, and I don't recall all of the symptoms that it causes in the body, but it's not good. It's not good. And I mean, those of you that are into etymology, it's got the HEX at the beginning, so I don't really want that in my body. I truly believe words are spells, and I think that's how we spell our words, and I think that we should be more mindful of what we speak and what we think and direct our thoughts and speak with compassion and speak with intention rather than babble on. Our words. But people walk around my shop, it's not my shop, but where I work, say, I'm sorry. Why are you sorry? It's a really small shop. You're exactly where you should be. You don't need to apologise for adjusting yourself so someone can scooch round. I'll make a joke out of it. Just do the two-step. It's a really small shop. Don't you apologise. You're fine where you are. We're apologetic too much. We say sorry too much. We give too much of our power away. And I don't want you to do that anymore. I want you to really start bringing that power back into you, whether that's through exploring your astrology, whether that's through really looking at the symptoms in your body and going, I want to start looking at the root cause. What toxins are in my environment? What toxins am I putting in my body without knowing about it? What toxins am I eating without knowing about it? They're the small decisions that you've got control over on a day-to-day basis. Being mindful of the addictions. Sugar is very addictive. I'm not ashamed to say I've got sugar addiction. Like at the worst, basically, I was going to go carnivore early January and we had a load of food. Oh, hold on. We had a load of food. So my other half, it's asking me to just continue. Sorry, I don't know if you can still hear me. There we go. Verification complete. There we go. Sorry, I don't know if you could even see all of that. It started saying we detected inactivity. So basically, we had a load of food that we accumulated over Christmas and towards the end of the last month. So we had some stuff frozen off, like frozen meats and things, dehydrated jars of things. And rather than being wasteful, we wanted to make our way through those foods. Obviously, throwing away trigger foods that I'd become aware of, but being mindful about resources. And that obviously January is not easy. So we decided to go through all of those foods. And when we were going through those foods, I had a bag of sugar, some flour, eggs, and butter, and some chocolate powder. And when I got into bed, was thinking about all of the excuses I could make to get out of bed and make a cake to take to work the next day because I hadn't allowed myself to have sugar. Those were the really, um, telling things that I had a really bad addiction to sugar. The thoughts creeping in to try and convince me to take those actions again. That's not okay. And so I am going to be using chromium with cinnamon, which apparently curbs sugar cravings and blood sugar spikes when you are fasting and doing things like that, as a way of getting myself off of sugar. But we've all got addictions. We've all got things that we cope with on a day-to-day basis, not just your druggie down the road that is homeless because he can't get a hand out, a leg up, he can't get a good footing on life. Or the alcoholic that goes to the pub after night every work and drinks until he goes, you know what I mean, because he can't stop doing it. And there's no judgment in any of this. Please, if this resonates and I'm describing you, please don't think I'm insulting you. The people that um, order are addicted to online shopping for the dopamine hits, like I said earlier, and the people that scroll on social media to get those likes from people, that's all dopamine in your brain. That's why it's so dangerous for children and babies, because they become addicted to that dopamine hit. And so we're all seeking these chemicals in our brain that make us feel certain ways and make us feel in control of something, even if it's for a really brief, short amount of time. So don't be so hard on yourself. Each of us have got a battle to face, and each of us are facing our own demons and our own shadow. And we need to be holding compassion for each other while we all go through our shadow space. You never know what someone's going through. And that's really hard at the moment when the person in front of you is driving like an idiot, driving like a din low. It's really hard. I get bad road rage. That's where mine comes from. That's where my triggers are. And so I have to be mindful. I hang back. I take my time. I put my cruise control on and I just go with the flow. Because I'm not going to give my power to you, Mr. Man in front that's driving like a bellend. I'm not doing it. But I used to. Used to be really bad. And so we've all got those triggers, the things that get us riled up, the things that get us really angry. But the thing that gets me most angry is injustice. I cannot. I'm a social justice warrior. I cannot. How dare you take the piss out of somebody that's different from you? We all belong to the same consciousness, and we need to start treating each other like we are rather than the enemy. One of the greatest weapons of war is divide and conquer. And I would argue that we as people of this country are more divided now than ever. More than ever. Uniting is the way forward. There's a wonderful video on my YouTube, on my TikTok, sorry, with a guy singing a song, and it makes my day because it makes me feel really pumped up for the collective movement. I hope that you've all been able to follow along with what I've been sharing with you today. Just to give a recap of what I've covered today, it's mainly my journey of discovering that I think my mercury fillings caused all by disease or dis-ease. But I don't know yet. And I'm going to vlog this journey as I detox all of this mercury out of my body. And I'm also going to be booking in to, I don't like the word smart because everything's a smart meter, smart car. Don't like it, but a smart dentist because they're trained in the correct and safe removal of mercury fillings so that I can stop this from leaching into my bloodstream and into my brain. And I can safely detox the mercury that's inside of me already. And from what I've learned, that should clear the endocrine pathways, allowing for my hormones to return to some sort of normality after 20 years. So we'll see what happens over the next year. But if you know anybody that is struggling with fertility and needs just someone to relate to, please direct them to my channels. My link tree is in the bio, so you can see all my different social media platforms. I've got a Telegram there where I can easily share things because I don't know if you saw my pearl powder video, but I had such a success with pearl powder that I was telling everybody about it. If it works for me and it changes my life, I want you all to know about it. I want it to help you too. I'm not a salesperson. I may develop a brand in the future for some healthy supplements that help all these things that have helped me, but natural. I don't want any chemicals. Pearl powder is literally ground up pearls. That's all it is. And it's got calcium in it, and it's got collagen in it, and hormone balancing things in it, and magnesium, and lots of wonderful things. But the most incredible thing is that it helps with your eyes. So I was making a pearl powder paste with castor oil and putting it on my eyes every night. And I've currently stopped doing that and drinking it as much. I've done it over the last couple of days because, again, it's a binder. It is an example of a binder. But I wanted my nails to reset so I could show you the before and after. I've been a nail biter my whole life. Not because I want them off, but because if one goes, they've all got to go. And it was a form of OCD. And then my nails got so long that I couldn't even bite them anymore. And they were getting really strong. And I was like, that's really odd. It's the pearl powder that's really kicking in. And so it really enabled me to have healthier skin now. My hair was going wild. I mean, I don't take it down because I look like Hermione and Hagrid had a love child. But yeah, it's very wild hair. But it started growing all these little wispy bits. You can't really see. I don't even know if this candle will help much. Like wispy bits around the side. I've really quick new hair growth. So if you know anybody that has hair loss, put them onto pearl powder. The brand that I take is Navi, NA''VI. And it's available on Amazon. As much as I don't like Amazon and big corporations, they are a independent company based in Scotland. So it is a company that's set up on this island that you can support, even if it is through Amazon or their website. That's the brand I currently take, but it is expensive. And so my aim was to develop a line of pearl powder that has high standards, organic where possible, no chemical extraction, for a cheaper price. Because I'm sick of people being taken advantage of when it comes to their health. I've seen astrologers charge £500 for a session, and that's fine if you've got the experience, but I could never justify that. That's why I do written reports. It cuts my time. I've seen really expensive products just not needing to be so expensive, and then before you know it, you're spending a fortune on things, or you're priced out of your own health journey. And that is the injustice that we cannot tolerate much longer. People deserve the right. Start with charcoal and start with something to mobilise your mercury and see if your symptoms improve before you go and invest in high-end supplements that promise you the world and don't do a thing. Don't do a thing. I've tried everything. I've tried every supplement. I had Shilajit for a little while, maybe feel okay, and then I went back to sluggishness. Ashwagandha, I've tried that. But if the root cause is not being dealt with, you're throwing your money down the drain, you might as well go and take out £100, £200, however much you're spending on supplements and giving it to a stranger because it's not doing anything for your body necessarily. That's not necessarily for all of them. Every one of you is maybe on unique, different paths. Again, just my opinion, just my experience. All right, baby, 2 minutes. My dog is wanting to go down. So I am going to start wrapping up now just so I can take care of him. But yeah, just as an note, before you start, all right, sweet, before you start investing in a load of supplements, look at Mercury first if you think it's a toxic thing because you don't want to waste your money. Start with a mobilizer that will mobilize the mercury and start with a binder that will bind that mercury and get it out your system, detox those heavy metals and all those little toxins in your system, and then evaluate where you're at. And for the genuine things that may be genuine health conditions, you can get the right treatment for those. And for things that were just mercury toxicity, you've already eliminated and you're feeling better. And I don't think charcoal is that expensive. And I think NAC is the thing that I take, and milk thistle. So probably NAC's probably about £15-20. I use Viridian because it's organic. The charcoal mix probably about £15, that's 30, and then £20 probably for your milk thistle, and I get a big bottle. That's going to support your liver, that's going to mobilise the mercury, and that's going to trap it in your gut and remove it from the body safely. At £50, if you think that you have got any of this, you resonate with any of this, give it a go, but do your research first, please. I don't want anybody to get worse before they get better. But I really hope that this has helped some of you, and I really appreciate 347 of you in here. On my first live. It's incredible, and I'm really grateful for those of you that have sat here and listened to me for the hour and 15 minutes that I've been on today. Watch this space because I'm going to be doing live study alongs in whatever way. I'm trying to get that out and develop right now, and I've got a number of lessons on all sorts of things that I want to put out there. I really am being drawn to help you to heal on all levels and help you to become your own astrologer, help you to understand the energies, even if you don't believe in your zodiac stuff, but to understand who you are for and what your soul's lesson is in this lifetime has changed my life. I can really embody just knowing something like your midheaven. My midheaven is 13 degrees of Scorpio, and that is the degree of bringing hidden things to light, bridging the gap between science and spirituality, and that is exactly what I feel I am just about to start doing. So with that, I am sending you so much love. Thank you so much for coming on to this live, and I will post all of my live scheduling. Now that I've got this first one out of the way, I think I'm going to have a little plug for it and come on and just speak to you guys. And I promise that next time I'll be more active in that chat section. So if you've got any questions that you want to ask, I can, to the best of my ability, answer them for you. But you have a beautiful Friday evening. Sending you so much love. Thank you for joining, and take care.